Hey, pastors and churches. For the last couple of years, we've tried to dial in what the strategy and the direction is for our association. And we've been able to get the big pillars, the big framework in place. But over the last few weeks, couple months, we've been able to get some better handles on the details of our strategy. So I want to walk through that with you. And then later, if you have questions, we'll talk about these in upcoming meetings and gatherings together. Let's just remember the big basic. We're operating off three basic pillars, and that's ministry encouragement, church strengthening, and evangelism and church planting. And again, it's not for the association to do the work of the church's ministry, but rather for the work of the association to help the church pull off the ministry. So we will make sure that flow goes in the right direction. The first of all is minister and encouragement. And your minister encouragement team is broken down into three main components. The first part is what us as the Walton County staff, how we minister to the pastor and family. And so as we encourage every pastor, send out resources and gift cards, we want to make sure that their pastors are encouraged, because we believe that encouraged pastors make better pastors. And so personally, as your Walton staff, we want to make sure we have that priority. Second, we already have care groups in place, your Encourage team. And so every single member of our Encourage team, that we've divided all our pastors up so they have their own care group list. And so they are reaching out to make sure that our minister encouragement team is caring for pastors, calling, texting, praying, meeting with them, helping for have fellowship and collaboration, and we are supporting them in doing that. And then the third component, we are giving resources to our churches to make sure that the churches know how to best care for their pastor and their family in spiritual ways, emotional ways, and in those tangible, even administrative ways. And so this is the work of our minister encouragement team. The next component is our church strengthening team. Your association desires every church to be as strong as possible. We'd love every existing church to be as double or triple its current size. We want to work to accomplish that. But how? It's three parts again. The first is challenging conferences. And so your church strengthening team is going to be contacting many of our churches and pastors, working to identify what are major challenges that your church is facing. And as we hear common threads of challenges that many churches are facing, we're going to have what we would call challenge conferences on a particular topic. It might be evangelism or technology or administration, stewardship, a whole run of gamut. But we're going to have a series of challenging conferences based off of the needs of our churches. From that, we're going to have customizable conversations. We realize that no two churches are alike, and so you have the given topic that we might have a challenging conversation, while how it's applied is going to be unique to every single church. And so we'll come into every single church individually that would like to go a little bit deeper from that challenging conversation to help you customize its application. And then when that's done, we don't want to leave the church alone to figure it out for themselves, but rather walk with them through some continual coaching. And so your church strengthening is focused on having challenging conversations of topics that you identify, customizable conversations, and then last is that continual coaching. Now we come to this third component, our evangelism and church planting. This has four parts. The first is pray the field. And so your Encourage team and our staff at the association, we're seeking to discover, write, adapt prayer resources for your church to be able to use to grow your individual prayer ministry, as well as having collaborative efforts and emphasis of prayer across our entire association. Part two is to prepare for the field. Our evangelism and church planting team and staff, we want to resource your churches with evangelism tools. We know there's tools that are always coming out. And on top of that, every church has its own preferences for tools. We want to provide those to you and train you how to use it. Whether you're in the north end, south end, rural part of the city, whatever it might be, we want to help prepare you for the mission field that is Walton County. And then to go and to proclaim the field. We'll help organize some collaborative works in your church or between churches for us to share the gospel. For instance, as I'm recording this, there's the Gospel Conversation, that initiative is happening even right now. We're going to push items such as this, as well as others national programs such as Who's Your One, to resource you to proclaim the gospel to the mission field. And then last of all is to plant the field. Your evangelism church planting team is going to work to identify where our church plants needed based off the growth of our county, where there are gospel gaps. And so maybe we'd love to see if there's one church for about every 2,500 people in the county. And so right now, if we do that, there's areas that do not have a strong church gospel presence. So just as much as we're going to work with all our effort to strengthen existing churches, we're going to make sure we get the gospel into areas where there's not as much church gospel presence, using this in your church planting and evangelism team is doing this. Now, to put it all together, your administrative team is functioning in 3 different ways. One is alignment. We're going to make sure all these other 3 pillars are working together, not operating in silos, doing their own thing. They're going to make sure alignment is happening. Also, they're going to help to give oversight, fiscally, organizationally, so that when they report back to the executive committee or all the messengers, you can trust that everything's been done in a fitting and orderly way. And then last of all is accountability. One of the things your association is tasked with is that of a kind of a doctrinal watchdog, to make sure whether it's existing churches or churches under watch care or future churches will have our shared theology and practice it. So here's the 3 areas of alignment, oversight, and accountability, all putting their arms around the 3 pillars of our association of minister encouragement, church strengthening, and evangelism and church planting. So together we can resource your church to be healthy. We live in a mission field, and we want to help your church pull it off. If you have any questions about this strategy or how we can kind of put it even into better practice, let us know. We look forward to serving you in the days ahead.